Applications. Yes. Okay. I'll make those folders now. You can, and then by, you know what I mean?
Check, check. 1, 2.
Yep.
Okay.
Deborah, what's your last name?
Miguel, sir.
Again?
Miguel.
Like your favorite restaurant here in town.
Right.
Okay.
Deborah Eduardo.
Okay. So Donnie, that flag is actually backwards. So we'll have to fix that next time. Yeah.
Video, Don, your video is inverted, so it's probably correct in your real world, but it's
There you go.
it inverts in the video.
Yeah, I just sat down. I didn't even turn around.
No worries. We'll get that fixed next time. I just noticed it. Hi, Gil. How are you today? Good to have you. Dr. Sanchez, thanks so much for taking time and being on here today.
You got 1 minute. We'll go in 1 minute. All right, let's get started. Good morning, everyone. My name is Don Williamson. I'm the 2020 Chairman of the Board of the Corona Chamber of Commerce. And today we have another fact-filled, updated, jam-packed agenda for you today. And today I'm going to be sharing this agenda with our Chair-elect, Kim Maybon of Creative by Design. She'll be providing updates and announcements throughout the call. And today I'm going to ask Kim to share about our sponsor.
Thank you, Don. Good morning, everybody. Today's event is sponsored by Waste Management. They are a sanitation and recycling company committed to sustainability and being part of the community. They focus on maximizing resource and value while minimizing or even eliminating environmental impact so that both our economy and our environment can thrive. Don?
Thank you, Kim. Also, as always today, use the chat button for any questions. We do this to keep our questions organized so that we don't have people just shouting out questions and making it easier for our hosts. And today our questions on the chat are going to be fielded by someone new here at the Corona Chamber, Deborah McGill. We're happy to have Deborah here with us, and she is going to be the one asking the questions to our speakers. The Corona Chamber of Commerce continues to be your resource for prosperity. We are here every day to serve our members and to answer any questions that you might have. We give critical updates to our members on everything you can imagine that affects our business. And this call is one of the resources that we provide to do that very thing. We always appreciate the expertise of our speakers that we bring to you here. And it's a benefit of membership to offer these calls and to allow our members to be part and participate. We have been promoting More Than a PPJ, a community service project here at the Chamber. There's a fundraiser that we've been pushing for the last few weeks, and it's finally going to happen this weekend. And an alumnus from the class, the ELR class that started this project, is here with us today. And I'm going to ask him to speak about the fundraiser and give you some updates. At this time, I'd like to introduce my friend, Mark Edwards. Is Mark on the call with us?
He is on the call. Mark, can you unmute? There you go.
Thank you very much. Thanks for that, Don. Yeah, we're at our last push here to get everything going for the barbecue fundraiser. And we've had quite a bit of a positive turnout, and a lot of folks at the last minute, jumping in and helping out. We have everything pretty much worked out, and we're even delivering 40 meals to a business, Make It American, this Friday as well. So I thank Kathy and her team. So we're looking forward to a great event. There are still a few spots available. If you want to reach out to the Chamber or myself, we can get you taken care of. But I appreciate all the support. The USO appreciates the support. And we're looking forward to a very wonderful event on this Saturday. And I hope to see you all out there.
Thank you, Mark. Man, what a great project to support our USO and our soldiers being able to get a meal instead of just a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So please inquire about this event here at the Chamber. Deborah, do we have any questions for Mark?
There are currently no questions.
Thank you. Anyway, I look forward to having everybody on this call and everybody in the community participate on the More Than a PB&J Community Service Project so that we can get our soldiers a meal before they get deployed or when they come back home here. So thank you very much, Mark. Appreciate it. Now it is my pleasure to introduce to you Dr. John Pablo Sanchez, who's the Director of Community Services at the Corona Norco Unified School District. John has some exciting information for us today, and I'd like to turn it over to you.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Thank you, Don. Appreciate you. Don, so I was a history teacher, guys, and so Don Williams I have he's one of my heroes. Don shares that love of history. And so anyways, Don, I don't know if I ever told you that, but you're one of my heroes, man. Thank you for that. Listen, I just want to first start out. Take a look on the chat. I'm going to add a link there. If you don't mind, when you get a minute, take a look at that link. It's for Coronado Unified School District's back to school type safety plan. The safety plan is a required piece from the California Public Health Department if school districts or local education agencies are interested in returning students back to school throughout the I'm going to use the word here, the spectrum of the different levels of the pandemic. So I wanted to share that link. There's a video there, but I also wanted to just kind of cover a little bit of what we are planning to do to keep our staff and students safe and returning to school. I want to also introduce to you our Director of Risk Management for Coronado Unified School District, Mrs. Tracy Payne. Ms. Payne, if you want to just say hello to the folks, a little bit about yourself.
Good morning, everybody. I'm the Director of Risk Management and Employee Benefits here at Coronado Unified School District. I've played an integral part in the safety protocols on our reopening plan regarding student and staff safety and our PPE and supplies. So I'm here to assist Dr. Sanchez.
So yes, and that is correct. Realistically speaking, we couldn't get this done without Tracy's leadership and her ongoing communications with the county public health department, and the office of Dr. Kaiser, and making sure that we have everything in place. So I'm going to share the screen here. If that's, it looks like I don't have the ability to do that, but the host perhaps can help me with that. If not, I'll encourage you all to work from the link, which would that be? I'm not sure who is the host.
They're working on that right now. Hold on just a second.
Thanks, Bobby. And so at any rate, we asked the rest of you, let me start with the elephant.
Sorry, excuse me. I've gone ahead and stopped the screen share. You may be able to share your screen now.
Thank you so much. So I'll start while I do this. The elephant in the room is what's happening with our level, right? We yesterday was announced by the state that Riverside County has the equivalent numbers for a purple, falling back to a more restrictive environment. Although that didn't occur, right? They're in red. Looks like the news keeps indicating that, and also the state doctor who spoke over YouTube yesterday, that they're revising that, right? They're looking into it, and there's a technical term that it's part of the plan, right? And so at any rate, well, more information will come on that. So I want you to please just keep that in mind, because some of the dates that we have been advertising may change based on the county's potential move back to purple. Okay, so as I go through, I want to share the safety plan with you real fast. I promise not to. I'm not going to read it to you. I'm not going to bore you with that, but we are definitely going to cover the highlights and give you the opportunity to ask Tracy and I any questions you might have regarding this piece. This is the Chamber of Commerce, and but we're also, most of us in here are parents, and so and your parents in our community, and so I want to be sensitive to that and answer any questions you might have regarding those pieces. So with that said, on your screen, you should see our 2020-2021 school opening and safety plan. You see the very recent update date at the bottom there of the 9th. So that was just maybe a week old, and we're continuing to make adjustments as more information comes to us from the CDC. And so with that said, let me just kind of share with you, when you go through the plan, also on the web link that I gave you, there's also a video that summarizes and shows more or less what we're doing at the sites, specifically to make sure that we maintain a safe environment when we get to have students back on campus. So we'll start out with the reopening dates. As you can see here, we had last week, we had a set of dates set for you here, and for the year-round schools, the intermediate and high schools and traditional elementary. Right now, we are looking at making a change on secondary to push that return date, and this will be reflected on the new one. We're looking at pushing the return date to November the 2nd. So year-round schools will open on the 26th. However, intermediate and high schools will open on the 2nd at this point, and that's barring the county going purple. If that changes, then there'll be another change. Okay. Traditional elementary and year-round schools. Traditional elementary, there's no change. November 6th, and same thing with the year-round schools, October 26th. Here's the difference. If the county's in purple, the state has allowed LEAs, local education agencies, to file for waiver. So our waiver has been put together and it's been filed. If it goes into the purple, and it's already been submitted to the County Department of Public Health, Dr. Kaiser's office. Their indication, this gets a little confusing, but their indication is that you don't need a waiver so long we stay in the red. However, if we go into the purple, you will need the waiver. So we took no risks. And by we, meaning the Board of Education's and their leadership, they have been very clear that we want to bring our students back as safe as possible. And so we have then submitted the waiver, and the dates of the 26th and November 9th should continue as long as the waiver is approved, and that we see no reason why it won't be approved. We've been working closely, and by we, under the leadership of Ms. Tracy Payne, we've been working closely with the county health department to make sure that everything's so they open up. So that is the only potential change on the start dates. And then, but I'd like to go over the rest of the plan for you. But are there any questions regarding that? Because I gave you a lot right now. Any questions regarding that?
Deborah, do we have any questions for Dr. Sanchez?
There are a couple of questions over here. One of them is, Dr. Sanchez, what are the testing plans for the district, for employees and for students?
Sounds good. Tracy, you wanna address the testing plans?
Yeah, so the California Department of Public Health published that when schools return to in-person instruction, we need to have a plan in place to test our employees. It's basically a surveillance plan so that we look at employees that are asymptomatic and we screen them on a 2-month cycle. Currently, there is no recommendation to test students. That's a whole different arena that we're not playing in yet. In addition to the state, at the local level, Dr. Kaiser put out their publication late September that made it a requirement and gave us kind of some additional guidelines. So CNUSD was well aware of that coming down the line. We created our testing plan. It's going through the negotiation process. We hope to have that approved by both associations, but we have a testing plan that will incorporate on-site testing to make it convenient for our employees. We will refer them to their own private health practitioner, and they can also use local community sites. But our main piece of the plan is the on-site testing several times throughout the week so that an employee can have a test done during their workday. And it's the rapid PCR nasal swab. So it's the least invasive we can with the quickest results so that we can exclude that employee if they are asymptomatic.
Thanks for that, Tracy. And those are that's the most robust piece there in terms of the actual staff piece. But in terms of the kids coming back on campus, as you can see there on the page to the right, there is some screenings that we're going to be doing on a daily basis, not just the staff, but the students themselves. One of the piece, not very popular piece, unfortunately, but it's also the limitation of who can be on campus. While in the past, parent volunteers altogether, they were essential to to particularly the elementary level, right, where we don't have a lot of staff, and they are essential in a lot of pieces, but they are not considered essential employees, and they're at this point they're not going to. At this level, they're not going to be able to be coming in terms of volunteer pieces. So it's only the bare minimum essential staff will be on campus, and they'll all be screened before they come onto the campus. And by screening, there's a set of questions that they'll need to answer, and we keep record of all those questions. That's done through digital applications, as well as the taking temperature at the front before they enter onto the campus for every student and every staff member and anybody that needs to conduct business. So even if I go visit one of our schools, I have to go through the screening. Even though I went through it to come onto the district office to start my day, I get up and jump in my car and I go to elementary school in Corona, then they'll do it again there at that point. So those are some of the aspects that we're looking at. Okay, as we continue here with our some of the things that you're going to see is the face coverings and the PPEs for all staff members as well as for students. That is a requirement, except for there are some different pieces for students from. Take a look here to 2 years old, second grade, so only encouraged but not required. And then third grade of high school, yes, it is required unless there is some type of medical exemption. And by medical exemption, I mean it's not a student coming on campus and just simply saying they're exempt, that there's going to need to be a formal medical exemption filed with the school district at the school site. Our own registered nurses will be working directly with that doctor that is filing, that is actually writing the exemption for verification. And that is not necessarily new. Whenever we have a student with some type of medical issue, that is a typical practice for our registered nurses. Anyways, they work directly with your personal doctors, and we verify that all the information is accurate and that we are also providing the best support as necessary, as directed with the doctors, right? And so that part is not new, but the face coverings can be quite a political conversation sometimes. So we wanted to make sure that we were very clear on what the expectation is. Okay. Beyond that, all the other pieces that are going to be in play, 6 feet distancing, lunches. At this point, we are looking at continuing to provide breakfast and lunch. However, it's going to be a grab and go model. So as the students come back to school, we're going to it's going to be a shortened day. We're going to be giving the students a grab and go breakfast and lunch, so they can take it for either to take it home for the following day or for that day, however parents choose to do that. We still have suspended the way we typically handle lunches and breakfasts for students. We are simply feeding them all as long as they want it. And so that's all been handled through the CARES Act funding for the pandemic, and so that's how we handle those pieces. The models that we're looking at for having the students return to school, I'm going to get into that in just a minute. But I'm going to cover this first, and then we'll go into that so you get a better idea of what that might look like. Okay. So other safety considerations, we are taking a look at students with special educational needs and the staff. We understand that those are some exceptions to the more intensive needs. And so we have been working with our labor unions as the teachers and the classified employees, as well as the transportation departments, to make sure that we are meeting all the basic requirements from the CDC and keeping everybody safe. One of the pieces that we're proud of, that we want to make sure that we're meeting the social and emotional needs of our students. Guys, we have had, unfortunately, across the nation, students who anxiety issues have overcome them, and there's been some suicides, and so we are very cognizant of those pieces. We want to make sure that, and that's one of the drivers for our Board of Education, to make sure that we get our students back into a more social aspect, right? Students are not, or young people, just like most of us as adults, we're not built to live in isolation, right? It's quite difficult. And so we want to make sure that we are meeting their needs. We have several pieces in place now through a contract with a company named Care Solace, where they are able to connect families with mental health experts. But we are also making sure that when our students come back, that we are meeting those pieces. Teachers, counselors, administrators are going to be working with all our families and just kind of doing those mental health checks to make sure that they are that they're doing well, we're meeting those needs. And then our plan here goes into great detail if you want to look and read more into that. The sports and extracurricular activities. At this point, our sports program is already back on a conditioning only model. No contact and no sharing of sports equipment. So our football teams, basketball teams, right now they're out there, they're doing their conditioning piece, they're outdoors only at this point. However, our band and choirs and even or cheer in terms of not the physical piece, but the singing and anything that expands our voices is not allowed at this point for the CDC. And so that's going to be at a later phase once I want to say it's when we get into orange. Is that correct, Tracy?
Yeah. So when we go into our next phases of, we also look at the tier that the county's in, whether we're in widespread or substantial, to look at bringing back into phase 2 or phase 3.
Right. So yeah, so a little patience with that, guys. We know it's important, but we want to expose our kids or families for that matter. So we want to make sure we keep that safe. We do also have a full comprehensive decision tree in terms of what's going to happen at the sites should there be a positive test with either students or staff. And so we're going to be utilizing our school nurses who are going to be part of that program in terms of making determinations and decision-making, working directly with Dr. Milosław Illich, who is here in my office, here at the district office, who oversees the nurses, and working with the Riverside County Health Department to make decisions on how much we need to isolate. So is it a single student that found out over the weekend and nobody was exposed at school site, or did the student find out later after he or she came to school, and at that point how many folks may have potentially been exposed? Do we need to send home several folks to quarantine for 14 days, or do we need to close down a classroom? Do we need to close down a school? Those decisions will be made collaboratively with utilizing the health experts and the Riverside County Health Department as well. Okay. And those, yeah, at this point, anything else, Tracy?
Do we need to pause for any questions on face masks or our symptom?
I think it's a good idea. Any questions?
Okay. Deborah, do we have any questions?
There are no questions in relation to the face masks, but earlier you mentioned, Dr. Sanchez mentioned about having only essential staff being in the schools. There is a question here asking that with class sizes being so small due to COVID, is there even a plan to hire more teachers?
So I think I'm almost at the end here. Oh, I am at the end actually. So yeah, let me get into that. I think that's a perfect segue. So the plan is to, at this point, and this is all being negotiated. So let me front load that piece. So everything that has an impact on our labor force has to be negotiated, right? So we have two labor associations. We have the certificated one, which is the Corona Norco Teachers Association, and then we have the Classified Employees Association, the CSEA. CSEA entered into a memorandum of understanding about a week and a half ago, and CNTA and our administration filed yesterday, and we entered into agreement yesterday. So what I'm sharing with you is pretty much hot off the press, okay? And so we are going to be organizing students into small cohorts, as the question indicated, and we're going to be rotating students through at the elementary level. Students will be coming in for half day, 4 days out of the week. And then, and it's going to be done AM, PM style. And so the teacher will still be working, for example, their regular contracted hours, but only see half the students in the morning, the other half in the afternoon. At the secondary level, those details just came out. And so, but I can tell you that it's also going to be limited time with their teachers in order to make sure that we meet those social distancing guidelines, keep everyone safe. And so all that to say that we're not going to need additional staff. We have already had to respond to the demand of students and families who did not want to come back at all until there's a vaccine. So that's a different conversation, but let me share those numbers with you. Just about 26%, actually 26.4% of the population for Corona Norco Unified School District, this is out of 51,343 students, committed not to return at all. In other words, there was pre-existing conditions at home that unless the COVID-19 is eradicated or managed through an effective nationwide vaccine, these families opted to say, we're not coming back to school, we're going to remain in the virtual environment. And so, meaning that we just under 3/4 of a student population, some 36,000 students have committed to come back when our Board of Education deems it safe for us to come back. So we did have to add some additional staff in order to meet those demands of virtual and traditional. Okay, so beyond that, as we're now looking into coming back, we had already planned for that. So no, we do not need additional staff at this point.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Deborah, any more questions?
Yes, there's actually a follow-up question. You mentioned about some students being in the virtual option, and say that the family decided to change their minds midway through. Are students enrolled into the virtual option able to switch to the traditional in-person option?
So to the extent possible and with space allowed with the current staffing that we have, the answer is yes. We are asking parents to make that request at a normal break in grading. So at the elementary level, they are in the trimester setting. So that's coming, first trimester is ending this month. And so if parents want to make a change, as long as there's space available, we're able to accommodate that at the end of the first trimester. And again, they can consider again at the end of the second trimester in the spring. For secondary, that's 7 through 12, they are in the semester system. So the end of the semester will be here as we enter the holidays in December, and the second semester will start as we come back in January. So that would be the time for parents to make that transition. This is not new. Whenever we even do transfers on the regular non-pandemic years, we ask parents to consider making those transfers, and only if there's a legitimate reason, of course, to do it at the break of the grading, because that can have negative repercussions on your child's grading. As you know, teachers are protected by law in terms of how they grade. So a principal can't tell a teacher how to grade a student, and neither can a parent. And so then, if transitioning a student from one teacher to another into 2 different programs, that has a negative grading effect that we can't protect you. So we then ask parents to make those changes at the break.
Thank you, Dr. Sanchez. Would you be able to share how many nurses does the school district employ?
You know what? I don't have those numbers in front of me. Tracy, do you know offhand those numbers? You're muted, Tracy.
I'm sorry about that. We had an urgent matter. Can you repeat the question?
The question was, and I don't have the numbers offhand, how many nurses we have.
Sure. We have 13 registered nurses, and so they'll be working in collaboration with our site admin, and we're putting together a task force. So I assume that's in the relation to if a student or staff member becomes symptomatic or positive at our campus, how we go through that process. So our nurse will reach out to the family, talk to them about that return policy, coordinating with local public health and their doctor. And our HR team and our task force will work with our employees, and then collaboratively we'll look together at closing down a classroom, or if any student or staff member was identified as having close contact. So the 13 nurses for our 51 school sites definitely won't be the primary contact, but we will lean on them for that contact with the parent to create that relationship.
Right. In addition to our nurses, thanks, Tracy. In addition to our nurses, each one of our school sites has a health clerk that reports directly to the nurse, to the principal. So they are the ones that are on site at all times to make that, if they need to summon that registered nurse to come on campus to handle a situation or what have you.
Okay.
There are a couple more questions. Some of them have already been answered in the process of you sharing the information that you have today, and we want to thank you so much. There is a question here that is asking if we are going to be having a hybrid type schedule for the students. I think you mentioned this a little bit earlier. Do you mind clarifying on a little bit more on that?
Sure. So yes, unfortunately, we must do a hybrid type of schedule in order to meet all the social distancing and safety requirements. At the elementary level, it's going to be 4 days out of the week, and it's going to be an AM/PM schedule. We're going to be noticing families in the next week or two to let them know. These are from the families that are not virtual, the families that are that committed to come back when it's safe. By the Board of Education. So they'll be notified whether, especially at the elementary level, whether you're going to have an AM or a PM schedule. And so at the secondary level, it's going to be, those classrooms are bigger, right? We have more students in the classes. So the hybrid, it's going to be more restrictive. It's going to be less days on campus. And so that information will also be going out in the next week or two. And we're anticipating that there's going to be some a planning day a week there. So one of the days will be remote for students, while the other 4 days for elementary will be a combination of coming on campus, either in the morning or the afternoon, and then continuing their education at home or starting their education home if they have a PM schedule. And then for secondary, throughout the week, it's going to be a combination of being on campus and being at home. Yes.
Thank you. There seems to be a lot of parents in the chat, as I am getting a lot of questions. But for the sake of time, Dr. Sanchez, what is the best form of communication for getting answers to these burning questions?
So at this point, you should be, we're going to ask a little patience because we are going to be putting all this information out. As I said, the union and Human Resources signed their memorandum of understanding last night. So this information is fresh. You're going to be seeing a lot of information coming to you from our communications department in the today, tomorrow, the next week. You're going to see more information coming specifically from your school sites in the next week. We are going to give parents at least it's looking to at least a week. And by a week, I mean 5 days, not 7, so you can make plans accordingly. And so more information. You can always reach out to us at the district office. We'll be happy to answer any questions you might have. But specific to your family, how that's going to impact you, that's going to come from your school site with an appropriate amount of time as best as we can.
So
Thank you.
Dr. Sanchez, so is it the main line at the district, the 736-5000, or is that the best number?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it's 951-736-5000.
Correct.
Thank you so much.
Okay, Deborah, do you have any more questions?
There are no more questions in the chat.
Okay, Dr. Sanchez, back to you.
Okay. Guys, that's really all that Tracy and I had for you today, and you can see why we're at the mercy of negotiations. At one point, that's done, and then now we're at the mercy of the numbers of COVID with the county. And so everything that I shared with you it's the latest and greatest information that we have available for our public. But please note that especially our relationship with the Chamber of Commerce is a solid relationship. Please know that you can reach out to us at any time. I'll be, Bobby knows how to get a hold of me. He's got my number if any of you need to speak with me directly for any reason, or would like to speak to Tracy, but you may not recruit Tracy. So that would be a violation of our trust. So Tracy is ours, and that's it. So, but at any rate, anything I can do for you, any questions I might be able to answer, I am happy to do that. I'm your contact.
Dr. Sanchez, thank you so much. This was a great presentation, and that's Tracy Payne. Tracy, thank you as well. We appreciate your time. We appreciate this information. You know, as you well know, people are just chomping at the bit to get this information, and to get it right from the source is just invaluable to our members. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Okay, Kim, over to you.
Thank you, Don. We want to express our thanks to the businesses shown on the screen now for helping make this year's Corona Golf Classic possible. The tournament is just 2 weeks away, happening on Thursday, October 29th. There are only 2 spots left for sponsorship, so call the chamber today to be included. Sponsorship is a great way to get your business recognized, build relationships, and have fun. If you still need help completing your team of 4, don't worry, we'll invite frontline healthcare workers to golf with your team. Also coming up is our manufacturing seminar. Just a few days prior to the tournament on October 26th, we will be celebrating Manufacturing Month with a free event brought to you by the City of Corona in partnership with the CMTC, Corona Chamber of Commerce, Launch Apprenticeship Network, and Fender USA. This webinar will focus on manufacturing opportunities and careers that inspire. If you've been thinking about launching a career in manufacturing, this event is for you. Hear directly from manufacturers, including Ed Maggie, the Executive Vice President of Operations for Fender. Sign up online to get the Zoom link. And just a reminder to those of you who are not yet a member, or if you know of a neighboring business that would find chamber membership beneficial, please connect with Robert Yanez to become part of our chamber family. We do service a regional landscape. If you refer a member, you'll get a free advertisement in the Corona Business News. Don, back to you.
Thank you, Kim. At this time, we're going to hear from our legislative action advocate from Occidental Communication Group. That would be Jeff Gibson. We are always touting the value to our members of our legislative action that we do here at the Corona Chamber of Commerce. It's just an invaluable service and part of the chamber membership, and it makes us an important cog in the business community here, not only in Corona, but in the region and really throughout the state. We are a very active Chamber of Commerce. And our eyes and ears and advisor is Jeff Gibson. And so at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Jeff to hear what he can tell us this week. Jeff?
Thanks, Don. Wanted to get into a bill that we had done a huge amount of work on, AB 3216, which was going to go through a huge change in the way a number of different issues for small businesses were handled in light of COVID. But as many bills happen, they are designed to solve one temporary problem. And no matter how bad the pandemic is, and we don't need to make light of it, but it is a temporary issue. The bill was going to be a permanent change in almost all of your HR policies. And we found at the time that it was going to cost you about $14,000 per employee. Well, working with our statewide alliances with the California Chamber of Commerce and others, we got the bill heavily amended to where it became a mandatory right of return for any small business in the food service industry and the hotel industry for any employee that was laid off. And so you could have laid an employee off and actually eliminated their position because your business, much like 75% of the businesses in the restaurant and hospitality industry, are down. What would happen is, as you are hiring employees back, even if you're not offering that service anymore, you would have been required to bring those employees back first for up to a year, and they would have up to a year to have responded to you. Well, the governor indicated that he was going to sign that bill, and we were happy to take about 98% of the bad portions out of it. It was something that we had intensively worked on from the moment that it was introduced. The legislature continued to vote in favor of it, and they continued to amend pieces out of it. And without your support, a lot of that would not have happened. Well, the governor vetoed it because at the very end of the day, he saw what our final argument was, which was that California businesses, especially those in the hospitality industry, could not be required to leave jobs open for up to a year for services that they weren't even offering anymore. For instance, if you had 2 dining rooms, but your interior dining room had to be closed for a year, so you weren't hiring people, you weren't hiring wait staff at all. You were basically becoming a window service with a patio, much like a lot of businesses in Corona have been. You would have had to offer all of your jobs to your wait staff if they had more experience with you than your chefs. And if they decided they wanted to take 6 months, 9 months, a year to get back to you, you would have to have held those jobs open. So it would have created a huge amount of issue. The governor finally vetoed it. It was the last bill that he took action on, and it's a very good win for us. So I wanted to share that with you, that even when the legislature had been out for September, we had been working through this, and we didn't find out until October 2nd that it was one of the few bills that business-friendly bills that the governor had agreed with. So we were very happy with that, and I wanted to pass that on, and happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Jeff. Deborah, do we have any questions?
No, John, there are no questions at this time.
Thank you. And Jeff, thank you so much. And I think everyone realizes that we've gone through the propositions on this call with Jeff. So you can look, you can watch these meetings on our YouTube page as well, the Corona Chamber of Commerce. So you can catch up on everything that you might have missed. So Jeff, thank you so much as always. We always appreciate your efforts on our behalf as we try to make things better for the businesses. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. We really appreciate working with everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you. This past Monday, we had one of our signature events, which was Coffee with an Entrepreneur. And it was really another interesting presentation. I really hope that you guys can get on those if you can. They are very interesting. Coming up on November 9th, we have our reigning Citizen of the Year, former chairman of our Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Dean Sabe. He's the owner-operator of CarStar All-Star Collision. This is a free event that we partner with the city of Corona to present to you. Dean has a great story. Dean was in the aviation business out of college, and he's originally from Iran. It's just a great story. It's going to be a very interesting topic to hear him talk about. So please register, and you can see the information and the contact to do that on now. Again, that'll be November the 9th. I'm going to turn it over to Kim.
Good morning. Corona is finally here. It will be happening this Friday, October 16th. We will have Congressman Ken Calvert as our keynote speaker. It's not too late to join. Both virtual and in-person tickets are still available. We will be meeting at a new location this time at IHOP here in West Corona, and are proud to welcome back a hot breakfast to this meeting. Use promo code NOW online today and you'll receive $15 off your registration. Don?
Thank you, Kim. I'm going to have a reminder to you that today's sponsor is Waste Management. And they do so much more than just collect the trash each week from your home and business. They've invested in education, sustainability, and our community. And we're proud to partner with us. They're a longtime supporter of the Corona Chamber of Commerce. I have had very positive experiences with service at my home. Anytime I have a problem, I'm really a fan of Waste Management. It's a tough job, and I'll tell you what, they're really fantastic. And we have always include them on our board. And Lily Corora is right now our board member from Waste Management. So anyway, thank you to Waste Management for being our sponsor today. Back to you, Kim.
Just a reminder, opportunity tickets are available now. Sales of these tickets allow us to include more of our local healthcare heroes in the golf tournament. You will get a chance to win some great prizes, including gift cards, a big screen smart TV, and a Fender guitar. We will draw on October 29th, and you do not need to be present to win. So buy your tickets now. They are 1 ticket for $25, 6 tickets for $100, and 40 tickets for $500. If you would like to promote your business during our golf event, the raffle auction provides you with an opportunity to do so. We are accepting raffle and auction items through this Friday. To donate, please contact the chamber and look for Deborah or send her an email at deborah@mychamber.org. Don?
Thank you. Register for Paul Webb's very popular workshop, which is coming up on Thursday, November the 5th. Paul is a licensed NLP master trainer with over 43 years of sales training experience. This class's focus will be on personality types and how to get along with people that you may not like. It's going to be great. If this is your first workshop, Paul has a number of workshops, but Paul will do a quick review of the previous presentations and before he goes on to the new material that he's going to present. So if you're in sales, this is especially important to you. Paul is very talented and interesting, so please register today. At this time, I'd like to introduce our closing speaker. He's the CEO of the Corona Regional Medical Center. He is a great friend to the Corona Chamber of Commerce, and I would like to introduce to you Mark Uffer at this time. Mark, take it away.
Hey, thank you so very much. I've been on calls all morning, so I just dumped one call to get on this because it's so important to be part of the city and support the chamber. Just a couple things, on the raffle tickets. I don't think I'll be at the golf tournament, and Linda's probably going to shoot me in the head for this one, but Corona Regional is going to donate to how much is it for 40 tickets? If we just bought a bunch of tickets?
40 tickets is $500.
Yeah, so we're going to donate an extra $1,000 this year because I know everybody's struggling, and you can use that for tickets to give out or do whatever you want to do, and that's going to be from Corona Regional.
That is very generous, and it's very typical of how you've treated us in the past, and we truly appreciate your partnership with us.
That's awesome, Mark.
Yeah, I just think it's really important. I know that we've had some illness in the family, and we're so grateful that the people that were sick from COVID have recovered, and so anything we can do to help, that's what we're here for. So anyway, Linda will take care of that, and I'll sign off on that. I'll give you a couple updates on just healthcare and some of the things that have been going on around Corona at the hospital. I think it was 2 weeks ago on Sunday, we had a ransomware attack. And for those of you that don't know what that is, essentially there's some clown or group of clowns sitting in a room. They got nothing to do but make people's life miserable. And what they did is they create these phishing emails. And the phishing email is just like somebody sends you an email with an attachment, and it's phishing to get into your computer, so to speak. And once you click on it, it could be a simple thing. It could be like Linda Pearson sending you an email about what we just discussed with an attachment. You open it up and it infects your computer. What happens is that virus then goes from, it's a malware, it goes from your computer to the network that you're tied into, goes from the network there to any other computers that are tied in. And this one went all throughout UHS, took down the servers. We think it came from Lithuania. It renames all the attachments in your computer to what they call, I think it's RIAC. And it basically makes your computer not work. And then what they do is they send you a letter, ransom letter, saying that they can unlock it for X millions of dollars. And I don't believe UHS paid the ransom. We shut everything down and started from scratch. But just think of yourself without a desktop computer. Think of nurses not being able to chart with electronic charting. Pharmacy system doesn't work. The medication system, the Pyxis machines don't work. The infant security system went down. The phone system went down. Basically, we were back to the Stone Age as far as lack of computers. And it's taken us a little over 2 weeks to get back up and running. And we continue as we sit here to bring systems online each day. But it probably cost the company millions of dollars to fix it. So it's been a real adventure for the staff. And if you think of some of the nurses that have come out of school in the last 5 or 10 years, they don't know what it's like to work on paper charting. So we had to go to a completely paper system for everything. So very disruptive for not only our hospital, but the other 220 hospitals in UHS's network. So bad stuff. And of course, they did it in the middle of a pandemic. So there should be extra kudos for these people when they get wherever they're going at the end of their life. You know, they should pay that tab because it really harmed a lot of people. We didn't have any adverse events as a result of this. We went about our daily business, continued doing surgeries, continued caring for patients in the emergency room, and through the generosity of some of our sister hospitals throughout the company. And I'd really like to highlight Riverside University Health System. I made one call to Zari Sarafian the day after it happened, and we started getting resources from the county IT people that were reaching out to help us. So a true partnership there, and good things come to people that work together. Briefly, just give you an update on COVID. Would be remiss if I didn't talk about it a little bit. Our numbers are pretty flat right now. We're still seeing patients come in the emergency room that have it. I think that the decline has been driven by social distancing and masking. Masking probably being the most important thing we can do. Wear the mask, wash your hands, don't touch your face, just like we've always said all along. It is, you know, flu season's coming. You know, flu shots are now out in the market. I would suggest everybody get one. For people that say that you get sick from a flu shot, that's nonsense. For the most part, those things are so refined that very few people. It's not a live virus, and there were some problems with the solutions in the vials and things like that in the past. But and I admit I was one of those people years ago never would get a flu shot, but I've had one for the last 7 or 8 years, and I never have a problem with it. Your arm's a little sore, and you move on. You do not want to get the flu this year. I believe that we're stuck with COVID, absent a vaccine for the greater part of next year, mid-year at the best. I know there's a lot of people that are hopeful that the 2 or 3, 4 or 5 people, whatever they are, that are working on a vaccine are going to be successful, and we're going to get something out there. Of course, you have the anti-vacciners out there that are, we're not going to get a vaccine, it's unsafe, unproven. I can tell you that any pharmaceutical company that drops a vaccine into the market, absent all the politics that go with it, no drug company is going to market something that has the potential side effects to bankrupt the company. I did talk to Dr. French, our pulmonary critical care doctor, a couple of weeks ago about the vaccine potential, and she said there's more scrutiny and more visibility for a COVID vaccine than ever before on any flu vaccine. So I think that when it comes out, it will probably most likely be safe. They're talking about maybe 1 to 2 shots in order to have some immunity, but it's really our only hope to get through this and get everything opened up to the maximum and get back to life as we know it. I can tell you personally, I hate this virus with a passion. I hate what it's done to the economy. I hate what it's done to our social existence. I mean, it's just over the top horrible. And for those that have had it, it's an unpleasant experience, and we know people that have had it and didn't get out of it. So I think you just need to be really careful. And I admit it, I'm a mask Nazi. If I see somebody without a mask, I will say something to them. It drives my wife nuts, but you know me, I gotta say what's on my mind. And you know, I've even thought about carrying brown paper bags around and saying, well, if you don't want to put a mask on, put this over your head, you know, do something. Keep us all safe. So just be careful. Even though the numbers have flattened out, and I know everybody's just anxious as heck to get the businesses open and have the schools open and get back to normal. But if we don't do it the right way and people don't do the social distancing, masking, and washing their hands, we're going to be right back in the soup again, and it's going to be a miserable winter. So again, those caveats to getting us through this are extremely important. Hospital stuff that's going on. We have had numerous meetings about the second and third floor additions. Of course, with COVID and with the IT issues, it slowed us down a little bit on moving along, but we're talking about 60 private rooms above the ER. That project's still on tap. I expect that will get approved in the next 90 days, and then we'll get it into the state for plan checks. And hopefully next year that project will get kicked off and we'll have a nice new ER with 60 private rooms above it. We're also looking at the impact of the seismic safety window, which closes on 2030. If your hospital isn't seismically retrofitted, you can't use some of the beds. And at Corona, we have a lot of beds that fit into that category. So continue to look at that. Hospitals actively involved in some business development projects that are taking a lot of my time. Probably 100% of my time is spent on development. If I can drag these two projects across the finish line, it will change the face of healthcare in Corona once and for all. I think it'll be very good for the community, and I'll just leave it at that. I can't tell you much more. So there's a lot of exciting things going on at Corona, and I'm hoping we can get through the next 6 months to a year without any catastrophic health issues for any of us, and we'll just move on. And with that, I'll open it up to any questions.
Thank you so much, Mark. Do we have any questions for Mr. Uffer?
Yes, thank you so much for the very clear presentation and for the reminder. You've mentioned that you're very particular about masks, and someone wants to know if the type of mask matters. To be more specific, do the clear plastic masks or do the face shields actually work?
I've seen those new plastic ones that fit over your face, and they're like a molded plastic. Can't really tell. They just are starting to hit the market. I don't think the face shields do much, frankly. We wear those in the hospital along with the healthcare providers at the bedside working on the COVID patients. They use an N95 mask. The N95 mask is supposed to filter out 95% of the particles. The problem is they're hard to get for the consumer. We try to use them just in the emergency room and in the ICUs and in areas where patients are actually seeing the COVID patients. The surgical mask is pretty effective if it's worn properly. I'll make some light of this, and we've all seen this. It's kind of one of those things you want to have a 2x4 in your hand and get people's attention. But we've seen the people that they're in the restaurants, in the stores, walking around, and they have the mask over their mouth and their nose is sticking out. That's a no-no. That is no good. We've seen the people that have the bandanas, and the bandana is very loose around their face, and you can actually see their mouth and their nose. No good. You want to have the mask all the way up, almost to your eyes, over your nose, and you want to have it all the way down under your chin, and you want to have it tight. You don't want to have this thing flopping around. The cloth masks seem to work. They have inserts into them. The bottom line, I think, in all of it is that a mask is better than no mask. And if everybody's wearing a mask, if I'm wearing a mask, I'm protecting you. If you're wearing a mask, you're protecting me. It's airborne. It's coughing, sneezing. Everybody spits when they talk. I know you don't think that happens, but it does. And it's just the mask is really an essential tool for us. And I think the hard problem we have is that there are people that just won't comply. And I don't think it's just with COVID. They won't comply with anything. They're essentially defective in general. So the mask is the real killer as far as keeping these numbers down. That is why the numbers have come down, frankly.
Thank you. Deborah, any more questions? Deborah.
Sorry,
Well,
my button didn't want to work, but there are no further questions.
Okay, great. Again, Mark, thank you so much for taking your time to join us. We know how busy you are, and we truly appreciate this information. As well, thank you again for your generosity in supporting our golf tournament coming up. Again, always good to see you. Thank you.
All right, likewise, and you all take care. Again, if you need anything, let Linda know, and she'll relay the message.
Thank you, Mark.
All right, take care.
Okay, as a reminder, if you are not a member of the Corona Chamber of Commerce, or if you know someone that should be a member of the Corona Chamber of Commerce, please call Robert Yanez. We are a business group. We are here for our members. We're totally a member owned group. And we're only as strong as the number of members we get and the number of people who re-sign up and stay with this chamber and support it. The more we have, the stronger we are, the better we serve. So please support the Corona Chamber by becoming a member, staying a member, or finding us some new members. Once again, I'd like to thank today's sponsor, Waste Management, a very active part of our community, and always appreciate their involvement and partnership with the Corona Chamber of Commerce. And as a final reminder, don't forget to register for this call next week. Next week will be a really exciting presentation. We'll be hearing from our Economic Development Director for the City of Corona, Jessica Gonzalez. She's got an important update that she wants to share with us. And then on October 28th, we will have Dr. Chris Thornburg from Beacon Economics, who will give us a current economic profile. You don't want to miss this. I first saw this gentleman at a presentation, I think over at the Nixon Library. We were at an event. He is beyond interesting, and we'll tell you economic trends, how to read them, how he reads them. It's just a phenomenal piece of information that you'll get from Dr. Thornburg. So plan now to attend that one, and you can actually, I believe, still register for both of these right now, and it would be in your best interest. We want to thank again you for being here today. We want to thank again everyone who participated, our speakers, who make this the valuable tool for our business members that it is. So in the meantime, remember Friday is our Good Morning Corona. Hope to see you there. And thank you very much. We'll see you next week. Awesome job. Mark up.